Alrighty, I'm back. We're gonna finally review some OTB chess games, because I've played two tournaments that I haven't shown any of on stream. One of them didn't go so well, and one of them went really well. So after the one that didn't go so well, I wasn't particularly motivated to review the games. But then now that one went well, now I'm like, all right, let's look at my games. But yeah, I only have like a little over an hour to stream, so I don't know if we'll get through all of the games, but I'll do my best. Let's make sure that we're live on Twitch and on YouTube. Okay, so we're definitely live on Twitch. And how's it going, Bouncing? Long awaited, he didn't even know it was coming. Yeah, that sounds about right. Let's see if we're live on YouTube. Appears we are. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna jump in because I have a lot of games to get through and not that much time. So yeah, I don't think I even have all the games input in. Yeah, I only put the games that I liked in. Let's see, what game is this? Yeah, okay, so this is actually game one. So that kind of worked out. So the first games I'm going to look at are from the Alabama State Championship, which was like 3 weekends ago. Actually, Vindictive knows, he's been keeping track of how long ago it was. But yeah, how's it going, Vindictive? Oh yeah, does it say that it should be in the chess category. Okay, it is in the chess category. Okay, and there's no delay. YouTube's working. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot more fun to put games that you win through the computer. I mean, that's also like, I'm doing the game review stream now that I had a good tournament. But we'll look at the bad tournament first. Okay, so yeah, this is from the Alabama State Championship. This is played Labor Day weekend. This round one game was played on Friday. I was playing against a very strong player who is sort of like on the hunt for the NM title. He won the Alabama State Championship last year. And yeah, he's a lot stronger than me. I've played him once before OTB and it was a decent game. Let me see if I can find his rating, his pre-event rating. I'm sure I can find it. Where is he? There he is. Yeah, also he streams. NM Lightning is his Twitch handle. He doesn't stream too often, but it's been known to happen. Okay, so his pre-event rating was 2091 USCF. That's actually kind of low for him. He's been around 2040 before, I believe. Let's see what his peak is. He's in a tough situation because it's very difficult. Yeah, his peak was 2157. He's had a bit of a drop off this year. But yeah, he's in a tough situation because it's very hard to grind your way up to 2200 in Alabama because there's just not that many higher rated players for you to you know, not that many opportunities to easily gain rating, you know. Okay, where were we? No, Andrew Jang did not play. I've only seen him play in Alabama once, and that was when the tournament was in Oxford, Alabama, which is about halfway between Birmingham and Atlanta. Okay, and we can turn the big coordinates off because you guys don't like that. Okay. All right, so this game is pretty bad, in my opinion. He played e4. Oh wait, I also want to make sure the music is... Music looks a little loud. I'm gonna turn it down a bit, but you guys can, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. It seemed a touch loud. That's probably better. Okay, so it was a Sicilian. I did very minimal prep for the game in like the minutes leading up to the game. Oh yeah, I was supposed to put in all this metadata. My pre-event ELO. Oop, not that one. Where did it go? Was 1782. Okay, refresh so that it shows up. All right. Hopefully everything looks... Discord isn't announcing. Oh yeah, I was gonna at you and Cheesy Gazebo, aka Fluff Pigeon. Okay. All right. We're almost... Why doesn't it show the ratings? Oh, because I put USCF and it doesn't like that. It just wants a number. All right. Fair enough. Okay. And perfect. Good enough. Okay. So finally, yeah, it used to allow letters. That's true. Okay. So it was Sicilian. I did extremely little preparation for the game. I mean, when I play guys like this that are much higher rated than me, I don't worry too much about prep because I kind of figure I'm going to lose and I'll give it my best shot at winning, but I don't really, you know, I don't stress too much about the game. I just view it kind of as a free roll. So I kind of made the opening up at the board, which does not really work against 2100s. But that's just how it happened. So I don't usually play D5 in this like delayed Alapin thing, but I knew that it existed. I thought maybe it would catch him off guard. And he did say after the game that it did catch him off guard a little bit. And really this is like normal, but I think Bishop F5 is not super normal and the intention is to long castle. And again, I know it's a thing, but you know, it's not that well known, I don't think. No, I'm not complete dead zone against the 2090. It's true. I'm not saying I'll roll over, but you know, I'm sort of not really studying chess very rigorously at the moment, and this game is not an exception to that. So, okay, so Bishop F5, I'm going to long castle. The game's going to be complicated. How's it going, Layla? So these are my games from the state championship, like at the beginning of this month. And then I'm going to show my games from the tournament this past weekend afterwards. But we got to show these games first. So he played Knight A3. And also these games were like 3 weeks ago, so I don't know if I'll remember what I was thinking. But I long castled, which was sort of the idea. Review your game with Pia, but I have like 10 of my own games to review. How's it going, GP game? GP Bear. Absolutely rigid. Yeah, I don't blame you. But okay, so Bishop E3. Yeah, I don't know. It's some move, I guess. Maybe the guy wants to take this. I guess that's what he wants to do. I played Bishop G4, which I think is a bad move. Now I'm trying to remember what I was like, you know, thinking about and stuff. I don't remember what I was thinking. But I remember I had a reason for Bishop G4 and I thought I was like all clever and stuff. But I don't know why. Stream at the airport. Yeah, there you go. See, I don't really remember. I kind of remember why. How do I make this thing go away? There we go. I remember that I wanted to play Queen H5, but I don't remember why. So I don't know. I don't know why that was in my head. Like I should probably work on developing these guys. But yeah, I played Queen H5, which is what I wanted to do. I just don't remember why I thought that was a good idea. He played Queen A4. And I mean, yeah, it just looks great for white. I took here for some reason. I can't explain any of the moves, but how's it going, Paul? You're right, this is not poker. How's it going, DK? Okay, so I made sure that I had a problem here, I guess. I guess that's why I did it. So I defended, or no, I didn't. Wait, this says I played king. Oh no, I did take. Okay, I took, and then I played king b8. I mean, this just looks awful. Like, he's got all his pieces out. He can castle. His rooks can do stuff. I got nothing. His queen makes no sense. I mean, I don't know. This is like easily the worst game of the tournament. So, how's it going, Michael? Against English QGD setups with d5, we want h6 and long castle typically. Those positions are very boring but stable. Yeah, I remember my headspace before the game was like, I'm just gonna play something like off the wall and see what happens, which maybe is making too much of a concession. How's it going, Binac? Okay, so rook c1 and he's murdering me. Queen h6, which I thought was clever at the time, but I'm still just like losing. But like I'm tickling this, and I thought my queen could come defend in some circumstance. I don't necessarily remember the circumstance I was thinking of, but he castled, and then the game ended in funny fashion quite quickly. I played e5 exclam to try to get my pieces into the game, but e5 has a problem which I didn't see, and it's quite obvious, but I didn't see it, so what can you do? Also, I was already like super low on time, even though it's move 14, and this is game 120. Game 120, delay 5, and I'm down like an hour on the clock on move 13, basically. Yeah. So he took it, and then I developed my knight, and then he showed me what was wrong with my move. No, this is from the state championship. Yeah. Queen's move sideways, exactly. Yeah. So basically, after I played knight e7, I like got up from the board and walked around and looked at the other boards, and then I came back and saw this position on the board. I was like, okay, well, I guess I resigned. So yeah. That was round 1. Great start to the state championship. So yeah, that was probably the worst OTB game I've played in a long time. I remember we talked about the game afterwards, and he was fairly generous, was saying like, oh yeah, it was sharp and I had to, you know, figure stuff out and all that. And I didn't feel terrible about the game in the immediate aftermath. But then when I looked at it on the computer later, I was like, what in the world was I even thinking? Like, I never developed anything. Like, I just moved my bishop and my queen for no reason the whole game. So this game's just awful. I'm going to try to get through 10 games, but I have to be... This stream can go no longer than like another hour. So I don't know if we'll really get all 10 games. But I might review some, then in stream and do my class, and then stream again later tonight. But we'll see. How's it going, Slutty Tie Pie? No, it's 2 different tournaments, Layla. So I'm reviewing the state championship from like 3 weeks ago, and then I'm going to review the tournament that I played this past weekend. Nah, she's not listening. She's ranting about, you know, airports and stuff. It's not poker, it's true. Man, now I'm getting a reputation as a poker streamer. All right, now let's look at a good game. Wait. Is empty what I want? Yeah. Okay, and then I was white. Okay, and this was against my friend from Birmingham, and Chess and Black and White's friend. What did I say my rating was? 1782. Well, actually, Binac, I made more money from chess tournaments this past weekend than poker, which is a real rarity. Yeah, so this is against Christian. I guess I'll dox him entirely. What's up? So Christian's also in a tough situation rating wise, where he's like too good to play in the second section, but then he's one of the lowest rated whenever he plays in the top section. So he's had a lot of tough tournaments. Not tough like rating wise, but tough in that, you know, he ends up being one of the lowest seeds, and he's having to take a lot of lumps. You know. And this tournament was I think no exception, if I recall correctly. Get that going. And all right. So this game was actually pretty good, although I still got in horrendous time trouble, as I recall. Although I think we sort of traded time trouble. At one point I was ahead 30 minutes, at one point I was behind 30 minutes, so what can you do? Yeah, 1500 to 1800 is tough in Alabama for sure. I was in the top section. I think the rating cutoff for the top section was like 1500. I'm not sure. Losing money going to Scrabble tournaments even when you win. I mean, that's kind of the chess player's life too, is like, unless you win like an insane amount of your tournaments, you're never going to make money on chess tournaments. Am I top 5 in the state? No, I'm nowhere near that. I'm top 40. I might be like number 30. I think I'm around number 35, something like that. And that's if you exclude all the people who don't play, you know, very often. Something like that. Yeah, we're not a particularly strong state, but... Okay, so D4. And he played D5. Which, I guess he's been doing this more lately. He used to, like, we've played probably 10 games with these colors in the King's Indian. He used to play the King's Indian forever. But I have really good results against him in the King's Indian, so that might be part of why he doesn't play it anymore. I don't know, but... okay, so we played a QGD. And he played bishop e7 here, which is a little... I mean, I don't want to say unusual, but I mean, usually they play knight f6 first, and then I can trade and pin, which is what I like to do. So when they play bishop e7, I can't really do that. So I kind of just make waiting moves and hope that it transposes. What would you be? I don't know, Slutty Pie. I don't know how good you are. It doesn't always transpose. I think if black like really wants to avoid the exchange line, I think they can, you know, just play differently. But usually it'll transpose. And he did play knight f6 here, and we sort of got, you know, the transposition that I was hoping for. Black could also take with the knight here, but I'm never bothered by these lines because I get e4. But like, it's a line. It's not bad for black, but you know. Although, I mean, I guess the database is not really painting a great picture for black. Taking with the pawn's more logical. Okay, so we transposed into this like very common position. And we had sort of a straightforward game, as I recall. And he played c5, which I feel is fairly like combative. I think c6 is a more, you know, typical move that you'll see. But yeah, c5 is, you know, more double-edged, I guess. I feel like he likes to do that. So, I don't really know this position. Should probably not make a c-pawn break after e exchange. I've never heard that before. He likes the IQP. I've never noticed that about him, but I just feel like he, you know, I mean, I think I'm kind of the same way with black. Like, I don't really just want to be solid, but a little bit worse. I want there to be like, you know, some kind of imbalance, something that I have to aim at. But all right, so I did not do that. I don't know why I grabbed that pawn. I just played bishop d3, and he got his knight out. So now I guess there is a problem here, I guess. Well, not really. I decided to take no. I don't remember what I was thinking, but I mean, I guess now if he captures, I'm going to end up with an isolated pawn, isolated D pawn also. I guess that's the difference, but okay. So we did get the IQP position. Castled. Man, Layla's just you know, spouting, I don't even know what. Might get arrested for obscenity, that's true. Okay, yeah, and I remember this position is where he thought for like 30 minutes. And I mean, I'll remind you that it's 2 hours per side, but 30 minutes is still like an insanely long think for like a really boring position. I don't know if it's boring, but you know, it's not a hugely consequential position, it doesn't seem like. But he thought for a long time, and then he played a6, and I remember thinking like, wow, he spent 30 minutes to play a6, and I thought it was like a slow and not that good move. But then the computer says it's the best move, and the master database says that's the best move. So this is the same time your opponent was in a... Oh yeah, I forgot you said your opponent thought for over an hour on one move. That's so insane, but... What's wrong with bishop g4? I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with it. What's right with bishop g4? I don't know, seems fine with me. None of these guys are playing it, which makes me think it's not great, but I don't see what's wrong with it. Kept walking to my board, it wasn't changing either, yeah. Bishop g4 develops a piece and pins your knight. I agree with all that. I mean, yeah, I hear you, man. I don't know that the pin is like that big of a deal. I don't play the London, and this was not a London, but it does kind of look like a London. I did see the mass shooting. Yeah, that was very sad. But yeah, that was awful. No, not in person. I saw the news. Here in Birmingham, yeah, 5 points south. So I don't live particularly close to that area. Do I know who did? No, come on, what are you talking about? Like, it's a random crime and you think I know who did it? But no, I mean, it's awful, obviously. 5 points south, it's a neighborhood here in Birmingham. There's a lot of bars and clubs, and it has a kind of seedy reputation. How do we know CL Smith didn't do it? I guess that's true. Talk to someone who said they know who did it. Well, they should call the police. Why didn't I stop that? That's a good question. These are all great questions. But yeah, 4 dead, 18 injured sounds right. CL's a liberal. Liberals are too afraid to own guns. That's true. I would be afraid to own a gun, so I guess you're right. They say the police knows who did it already. Well, supposedly it was a murder for hire, which is like even crazier. But yeah, it sounds like someone called in a hit, and then I guess the guys that did the hit just fired indiscriminately into a crowd instead of, you know, killing one person. But yeah, obviously it's terrible. All right, anyhow, where were we? Yeah, a6 was the... Oh yeah, I was gonna see, to answer Paul's question, what the computer said about bishop g4. Okay, there's games in that position that, you know, reached this from a different move order. I was wondering if maybe you could play like h3, g4, trade the bishop here, and claim something. I don't really get the computer line. The computer says h3, bishop h5, bishop e2. I mean, I guess then, you know, there could be some kind of discovery with the knight that's good. I don't know. Bad cover-up by the hired guns. Yeah, I guess that could have been the idea. Then knight d4. with some kind of threat. Sorry, I'm confused. What's the deal with knight d4? The shooter was using an illegal gun. Yeah, it was... I don't know if they confirmed this or it was just speculated, but they said... I didn't even know this existed. But there's something called a switch, which changes a semi-automatic handgun to a fully automatic. And they're illegal, but that's supposedly what the guy used, or the guys. The threat of trading minors after bishop e2 when he has the... Oh, okay, so we just want to trade all the pieces and have a good endgame. I get it. He also had an extended clip. Texas is at least 5 New Zealands. That sounds about right. Okay, so none of that happened. He played a6, which is apparently better, but for reasons I'll never understand. Like, I didn't think that, you know, this was a problem or this was a problem. So I didn't really get a6, but... I mean, I guess the idea is to do like this. I guess that's the idea, but I don't know. Also, I don't remember if that's what happened in the game. So... Anyway, I played rook c1. Seems like a good square. But I'm threatening something. Maybe. I don't know if I'm actually threatening anything. But he played bishop a7 just in case. Computer agrees with that. Knight a5 can be annoying if he has the IQB and the bishop has to go back passive. Okay, wait. Wait, I don't know what you mean. You're talking about knight a4? Oh, okay. You're saying... I think you're talking about knight a4 and then, like, the bishop would have to go back here. So a6 is just to make a hole for the bishop, I think is what you're saying. You want phone battery? Do you have a charger? I got you. That makes sense. Well, obviously, he, you know, his time was well spent because he gleaned the understanding that I lacked and still lack. So yeah, he had it all figured out. And then I played h3 exclam because I was afraid of Paul's move. That actually is why I played it, because I was like, that's the only square I see that is, you know, seems reasonable for this bishop. And I guess I could do the same thing if it, you know, if I wanted to. I don't know if he can do that, but maybe he can. And then he played d4, ridding himself of the IQP and opening stuff up, I guess. Seems reasonable. Phone battery charges faster if you lick them. Yeah, that seems like good advice. And then I assume that I calculated for a long time here, because that sounds like how I would spend my time. But I don't remember what I was thinking about, but I took this. That's what it says on this paper. And then he took, and then I took, and then he took. And then it says I played queen f3. That's what I came up with. Is any of that good? That's the computer move, that's the computer move, and then it wants to play knight e4. Yeah, it just seems like we're trading everything off to symmetric pawn endgame. Although I guess white should be better because black has this problem going on. But it can't be that serious. He's playing this exactly like an exchange friends. That makes sense. But... Can't you buy a charger from some shop in the airport for like $30? Wouldn't that be worth it? Okay, so I don't remember what the thought was with queen f3, but the computer says that's the best move. I guess the thought was this. And maybe there were other thoughts. But I don't know. You do have a chat, Jur. Okay, that's good. The battery just sucks. Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, so after queen f3, we continued trading stuff. He took this, giving me the 2 bishops. I don't know why he did that. In the game, did I know why he did that? Oh yeah, because he wanted to do this, I think is the point. I think that's what happened. Yeah, knight d5. And then I think this is where I thought forever and gave all the time back. Like I was ahead like 20 minutes and then it was equal after this position, I think. Because I remember I was calculating a lot of like, what if I just leave my knight hanging and do other stuff? But I'm not saying I remember what I calculated. I assume I looked at this because that's, you know, threatens checkmate. Yeah, I looked at like queen here, f5, take the knight, bishop here. I looked at that kind of stuff. But I don't remember what I concluded. Did I consider b takes c3? Seems nice to keep the bishops. I mean, I imagine I considered it. But I you know, it's too long ago for me to remember what I was thinking. I'm not surprised that I played rook takes. I like when the pawns are nice and neat. Computer says both moves are fine. Why don't I do any Chrono Trigger music? Because I've never played Chrono Trigger. All the songs are from games that I've played, except for like 1 or 2. Okay, so I don't remember what all crazy nonsense I was thinking about. The computer says rook a3 is the best move, which I'm certain I didn't look at. I mean, that saves the rook, and the rook's still in the 3rd rank, which I guess might be good. I don't know. I played rook c4. And then he got the bishops back, but my pieces are better. And the computer says dead equal. He played bishop e6. I played rook d1 with subtle threats. He saw my threats. I played queen e4 with subtle threats. And here he really shocked me. Because I can't imagine considering any move that allows this. Like, I didn't even see it was legal to do anything but, you know, like g6. And I don't know what his, like, thought process was that led him to not play g6. But he did not play g6. And the computer says g6 equal, and otherwise he's lost. How's it going, Jungle Jono? Wait, did I get a raid and it didn't go off? I would believe it if that happened. Possible. I don't think so. That's okay. You don't know how much you appreciate grass-fed cows until you ear dry cheeseburger from Hungary. Yeah, that's probably true. He doesn't rate, he's too new. But yeah, that makes sense. All right, so he didn't play g6, and I don't know, I can't understand why, but he just made room for his king, which I didn't even see was legal. But I assume calculation and I mean, like, there's stuff for me to think about. Like, I could get checkmated, like, if I wanted to, you know, somehow. But I mean, okay, this like has to be good. And I don't remember how much I calculated ahead of time. But maybe I'll remember when we get there. Let's see. Let me make sure I'm on the right move. It says I played rook f3 here. That seems like too good of a move for me. I mean, my rook is hanging. The computer says rook e4 is the best move. I think I looked at both moves. I don't understand why rook e4 is better. I played rook f3. But yeah, I mean, I guess those are just the moves that save the rook that make sense. Like, nothing else seems to make a ton of sense. So rook f3. He played rook ac8. And then at some point I calculated a bunch of stuff. And the stuff I calculated was good. I played rook e1. Threatening the bishop. And this is still defended. Seems good. What time control? This was game 120 delay 5. So 2 hours per side with a 5-second delay. How's it going, Cormac? It was, yeah, OTB Classical. You had an opponent 1,000 points stronger and missed mate in 1 and 3+0. Yeah, Blitz is a hell of a drug. This isn't even an American time control. This is like exclusively an Alabamian time control. I don't know why we play this time control. I've tried to drum up support for changing it, but I think I'm like the only one that cares enough to, you know, make a quarter of a stink about it. That's okay. I mean, I don't mind the time control. I would rather it be 90+30. But how's it going, Michael? This was the American standard up until a decade or so ago? All right, I didn't know that. All right, he played rook d6, defending his bishop. So that makes sense. Okay. When's the part where I calculated everything? I played bishop f5. Threatening to win material here again. And if he takes the bishop, then I guess mate in 1 is good. So makes sense. He played queen d7, defending the bishop again. And then I think here's where, yeah, here's where I calculated everything. So I took this, and then he took, and then I took, and then he took, and then I went here. And he has a bit of a problem because his queen's hanging, and if he moves his queen, then queen h8 is checkmate. And then there's only one line of note to calculate, which is check here, and then queen check, and then block, and white has no problems, and black has problems. So yeah, I don't actually have the full game because it became a time scramble after this, but I think his only real try is to play f5. Yeah, the computer says f5 is the best move. Second best move is queen e6, which I would not be bothered by. Oh yeah, welcome to Twitch, Cormac. Should you reply to the Cote d'Ivoire guy? Probably not. That sounds like a terrible, terrible idea. Okay, so he played f5. And I took it. Okay, I actually remember basically how the game went. Now he has to block with the queen, because here is mate. And I basically just traded into this endgame where I'm winning. And then I won the endgame without much of a fuss, which is unusual for me. I went here. I think that's what I did. And I'm just offering him like, hey, if you want to trade into this pawn ending where I'm up a pawn, I trust that I'm going to convert that. And if you don't want to trade into that, then I'm going to go check, check, take this pawn, and we'll play a rook ending where I'm up 2 pawns. Neither one of those choices are very palatable for black. The only other thing to really think about is, you know, if he moves the rook to attack one of these pawns. But that doesn't really offer much resistance. If he attacks the a pawn, I can just play a3. I still have this same threat. If he moves the pawn up, then like rook c6 is going to hit all the pawns. So yeah, there's no way to move the rook and not lose a second pawn. Same thing here. I can just defend the pawn, and then I have all the same threats. If he ever threatens this pawn, that's no problem, because check, check here defends the pawn. So I think he should... I think he should pick one of those lines if he's going to play on, and just play the rook ending down 2 pawns and hope that I'm in time trouble and mess up. But he just traded rooks. And then I don't remember how the game went from here, but I won without too much fuss. Because, yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any counterplay. I'm just up a pawn. He has weak pawns. Yeah. Layla, I want you to Google human trafficking, all right? That's why you don't respond to these kind of things. Okay, so that was round 2, which is a pretty good game, I think. All right, I've only got like 30 more minutes. So next game I was black against a strong player. Who is a national master. I think he's like 2100 something. He's an older guy. Oh no, okay, he was 2033 coming into the tournament. Pretty sure he got the NM title, you know, back in the day. I know he's been state champion many times, but I couldn't tell you how many. And then what did I say? 1782 was me? Yeah. Okay, this is the game that I probably should devote more time to analyzing, because this one was quite interesting. At least I thought it was interesting. Isn't it obvious that the king and pawn endgame was losing for black? Why trade rooks? I mean, I agree with you. I don't think he should have traded rooks, but I mean, the rook and pawn endgame's losing too. So I don't know, it's just a matter of taste, you know. You forgot to pay attention the last 2 games, can I show again? Nah, you can watch the replay. No way you have time to dive into analysis. Yeah, I definitely don't. But I also don't remember like what my analysis was, so it's gonna be tough even if I had the time. Pulling out a bath bomb and doing a bubble bath. Fuck this place. No clue I'm going to be shot up by CL Smith's people. Yeah, that's true. How's it going, Initiative? Thoughts on the new ICC? I haven't played it, so no thoughts. I agree. I think it's easier. I think the king of pawn endgame is like thoughtless. And I think in time pressure he should... I completely agree he shouldn't trade rooks. He should, if he's going to play on, he should suffer in the rook endgame rather than the pawn endgame. All right. So this was probably the most interesting game of the tournament, in my opinion. It was a Sicilian. And I got to play... you know, the accelerated dragon, which I like. These are all standard moves. Main, super main line. Now here, if you play this a lot, you know to play bishop b3. Because if you don't play bishop b3, there's this trick, the center fork trick, where black is generally equal if black can do it. I don't know if Like, I've also had this position in a tournament game against a stronger player, and they let me do that trick, and they said that's just like their prep. They don't mind that line. They're fine with that. So I don't know if he is in that camp. He's just like, fine, I don't care if you do that. Or if he was playing, you know, something new and he didn't know it as well. I mean, it's not like a huge gotcha for Black, but I think in theory, Black should be like equal if Black is allowed to pull it off. And I was allowed to pull it off because he played H3, which I think is very strange. I don't know what the deal with H3 is. It seems to, I don't know. Like I don't think there's anything going on here. So I don't know why H3 was played. I got nothing. But do I ever make note of how many people have the same initials for first and last name? No, I've never made note of that. How did I do in this tournament? This tournament went okay. I ended up losing 15 rating points, so not bad, but you know, no one likes losing rating points. How's it going, Klossy? H3 is not strange at all. It allows F4 and no knight G4 later. I mean, okay, but knight G4 is not a threat, so like if I move this pawn, you could play H3 then, if knight G4 is a problem. Like, as Black, I'm not really thinking about doing this anytime soon. So I think you're preventing things that aren't really a problem. I also don't get what you mean by allow F4. To me, if you want to play F4, you want your H pawn here so that G3 is not a hole. But I don't know in what line you're referring to, so I might just be missing something there. But, yeah, I don't think H3 is a good move at all. Now Vindicta's on my side. All right, great. Yeah, F3 is far more common. If like in the accelerated dragon, if you want to stop knight G4, you can play F3, and you can get some typical kind of dragon position, you know, where you send it and castle long. You're kind of giving Black what they want in the accelerated dragon, but you can do it. Right, exactly. Too weak, too slow. Okay. So he let me do the thing, so I did the thing. As advertised. Okay, and he threw in this trade of knights, which a lot of people like to do, because it can leave Black with a weak pawn here, which is sort of the vibe that the game took. And now I think most common that I've seen in this type of situation is to retreat and then be ready to capture the pawn on e4. But he played bishop b3 instead. So I get to just be up a pawn. Obviously my structure is not good, but I am up a pawn. And yeah, I don't really have any like problems. So pretty happy. I mean, this has gone pretty well for being Black against a player 250 points higher rated than me. And we traded into the end game. He played c3, which I guess is aiming to try to come get this pawn later. I played a5. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if I'm going to remember everything I was thinking, but I think a5 makes sense because, I mean, we could try to do this kind of thing, although we could do that without a5. It's also kind of nice to try to stop the white pawns from rolling. Like, if he ever wants to play a3, b4, after a3, I can just play b4 and try to keep him contained. A5 seems good. Oh, how to defend pawn? I'm sure I thought about that. I mean, for one, I don't know that you, like, have to defend the pawn. Like, there could definitely be positions where you just give the pawn back. But, I mean... Well, let's see what happened, because I don't remember. That might have been how the game went. He played bishop c5. Which, yeah, makes sense. Seems like a good square. So if bishop c2, I don't remember what I was intending. I mean, can I just play f5? Is there a problem with f5? The computer says to play a4, which I imagine was not my plan. But it makes a5 look good. Yeah. Well, that's sort of getting similar to the game. So let's make that not the main line. Let's play bishop c5. Is the main line. Okay. Yeah, and then here I found this nice tactical sequence. Which the computer says isn't best, but I played a4, attacking the bishop, obviously. He played bishop c4, not going for this. I remember expecting bishop c4. I don't remember why I thought this wasn't as good. But I remember I expected bishop c4. And I followed through with a3 due to calculation. Yes, something like that is right. Vindictive. So he took, and then as Vindictive alluded to, I took, and we got this imbalance. Now, the interesting thing to me is, like, I kind of saw this position in my head. I'm like, man, this seems great for black. Like, like, you know, we're up a pawn. He has these stupid rook pawns. I even have a passed pawn. Like, it's sort of hard to see that this position is forced and then, like, not go for this position, in my opinion. But the computer says, and I mean, I think this is sort of instructive. The computer says that this is better. Which is like the same sort of tactical idea. But yeah, I just like, I didn't even really give this much thought because the other line looks so good. But yeah. More active king and outside pass pawn. Yeah, I mean, that's basically, as Michael already knows, like basically the whole question of this game became like, are these pawns good or bad? And my like initial evaluation was those pawns are awful. Like those pawns are completely useless. Like I might as well be up like 3 pawns, which is, okay, I probably wasn't thinking 3 pawns, but that evaluation is not correct. So I completely misevaluated that aspect of it. And going for this instead does sort of, I mean, it's less risky for black, as it turns out. That would have been difficult for me to come up with at the board. Because, like, I mean, now white has, you know, connected pawns over here. So, I don't know. But it is interesting. Keeping the rooks on, more rooks on when he has one on h1 makes sense. That's true, too. I mean, we did kind of give this rook purpose. So, a bit of a you know, a misevaluation by me there. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this position is still great. But there's more life to it than I understood that there was going to be. Which we will now see. Okay, so I played rook d4, attacking the bishop. And I remember oh yeah, I mean, obviously he's never going to fall for this. But, you know, if he defends with the rook, then we can take, and then win the rook. So he has to move the bishop. And he did pretty quickly. Bishop b3. He was playing pretty quickly most of the game. And I got in time trouble as every game, even though it's a 2-hour game. Okay, I played king g7. The computer prefers king f8. They're about the same. Computer also says c5. I mean, it makes sense we want to put our pawns on dark squares, but then we do have to think about how are we defending that pawn. Rook d4 is so nice. No bishop a6 check. Wait. Oh, because I push him off the diagonal so I can get bishop a6 later. I don't know if I was thinking that. Actually, I definitely will, because I was trying to calculate. I mean, later you'll see, like, I was trying to figure out, is there some, like, you know, really forcing sequence going on? But okay, so I played king g7, just trying to, you know, improve the king. He played rook c1, and I just played bishop b7. And you know, ordinarily I would look at this and say, like, you know, the bishop's having to defend this pawn, but I kind of thought the bishop was doing really well here because we're holding on to this important pawn, but you know, we're also still keeping an eye on a6 if these pawns were to start rolling. And yeah, we can pop out and give him the check if we need to. So I didn't really think this was like a drawback for the bishop. I guess it is in the strictest sense. Okay, and he started pushing his pawns. And a lot of the game, he was like pushing these pawns, and I was like, what's he doing? Those pawns are never gonna amount to anything. He is the Baymanet Flash fastest player in state history. Basically got to master playing his games like Blitz and Rapid. Okay, you have more lore on him than I did. I've seen his name in the rating list for a long time, but I'd never seen him before, and I didn't know anything about him. Also, I didn't know he lived in Baymanet. I've been to Baymanet many, well, not many times, but I used to have to go there for work occasionally, and I drive through there on the way to my dad's house all the time. How's it going, Lauren Nitty? I don't know if I pronounced the name right, but yeah, it's a chess day. It's Sakarento in chat. Who is Sakarento? Yeah, I mean, I figured he's a very strong player because I know, you know, he's always at the top. You know, he's highly rated in stuff. Okay, so I played f5. My king can come to the center. My pawn chain's nice. Everything's good. Where are we? Oh yeah, and then oh right, I do this thing with I don't know how this happens, but now almost every game at some point I forget to write a move down, and then I mess up the notation because I'm writing white's moves in the black side and black's moves on the white side because I just like forgot to write a move down at some point, and then I don't notice it until like 7 or 8 moves later, and then I have to figure out like what's going on. But okay, I got the notation corrected now. So he played rook c5, which I sort of expected. Also, my bishop does a good job keeping him out of a8. I didn't mention that earlier, but like if he ever tries to get in back here, he can't do that. So I played king f6, stopping him from getting the rook here, I think, was the main point. He played h4, which I found very surprising because I wasn't really thinking about anything going on that side of the board. So yeah, I was very surprised by h4. I think up until this point in the game, I played really, really well, with the exception of like the rook takes a3 or bishop takes c3, you know, difference there. But here I made a mistake. I think I kind of tunneled in on an idea that's not really necessary, but sort of obvious, I guess. When is king e3 gonna come? Well, I mean, he has to be a little careful with that, because if he does that, you know, there's some lines where, you know, the dude could get checkmated, or something bad could happen to him. So, how's it going, Camel Clutcher? Oh wait, is there beef in the chat? Dang. I missed the beef. I'll have to get the scoop on that. What game are we on? This is round 3. Yeah, 3. All right. So, like, I don't know what I was thinking before H4 was on the board, but once H4 was on the board, I was like, aha, I can do tactics. And then I analyzed that and thought that was a good idea, so I did it. But that's not really necessary. Like, I could just, like, you know, keep playing. Like, I don't know, I could just make some kind of move over here and try to keep... I don't know, I mean, it's... I could play E6 and walk the king over here, like that looks like it makes a lot of sense. That's what the computer wants to do. It plays E6, then it plays H6, and then yeah. Finagle, just play slow, you know. Oh, is Ringaw here? Oh, how's it going, Ringaw? Okay, but I saw a tactic, so I did the tactic, but it's not a good idea. So here's what I missed. After E3, he took with the king, and I took the pawn like I planned. He played F4, and I was like, oh. Now my rook is really out of the game. My rook makes absolutely no sense. He's got a grip on E5, which is kind of making this pawn really stupid. And I mean, he's got a square on E5 for his rook. So this was a really bad sequence. I just didn't see the move F4 at all in my calculation. And then I spent a long time here because I thought the more I looked, the more I was like, man, am I like actually in trouble here? The computer says black's still better, but you now wear glasses. Yeah, I've been wearing glasses for about a year. I like contacts more, but I'm too lazy to go to the optometrist, so. Do I bike a lot? I do now. Now that I moved, the area I'm at is more bike friendly. So yeah, I bike almost every day, although I didn't today. Okay, so I felt like this is kind of a tough moment in the game because I mean, I don't want my rook to just be trapped over there forever. Like, what do I do with my rook? Like, the computer says rook g4, but I would be pretty worried about, like, you know, he just, like, defends his pawn, plays g3 later, and then my rook's trapped. I'm never gonna get my rook out. I mean, I guess his king's kind of stuck defending the pawn. That's difficult for me to evaluate. So that's not what I did. I played rook h1, and I didn't like this move either because I thought he would certainly play king f2, and then again my rook just doesn't have a square. Like, I have no squares on the back row that I can go to, really. Those are all covered. I just have to go to b1 or a1, which don't make any sense. So I was really worried. I was like, my rook is just completely shut out of the game if he plays king f2. Rook b1, rook b2. Yeah, but I mean, then what? Like, I mean, it's a pretty long plan to get back into the game. Computer says equal. You'd be worried about a5, a6. I was never worried about that. I was like, no problem. I mean, I guess I should be worried about it now, because, you know, like, it's not so good. But he surprised me. I thought king f2 was coming for sure, and he played a5 because he thinks like bouncing across. But it gives me time to get my rook back into the game. So I thought this was like a big miss on his part. Computer doesn't care. And I remember I did look at this. I had a plan, which I will now demonstrate. So I played rook e1 check. Now it's all good in the hood, right? Like, no problem. Okay, wait, now I'm trying to remember what I was thinking. Oh yeah, at a6 I just played bishop a8. No big deal. Like, the whole question of the game is, like, how to evaluate his a-pawn. I was just never concerned. But I you know, should have been. Okay, where are we? Move 29. He played g3, defending his guy. That makes sense. I played h5. I assume intending h4. That's among the best moves. He played a6. Played bishop a8. My bishop is kind of trapped, but it's still holding down all the important stuff. He played king f3. Pre-defending f4 in case of h4. I played e6. I'm wanting to do this little maneuver finally. He played a7, and I was like, whatever, man, I don't care about your a-pawn. King here. Missing rook e5. Okay, and now I have like a big think, because like, what do I do? I just didn't see that, like, okay, now that I, you know, move the king, you know, I let him do this. That wasn't possible with the king still on f6. So this was another moment where I kind of saw a tactical kind of move and then I did it, but I don't know that it's like bad. The computer says just take this. I didn't really care for that position because it feels like my pawns are kind of stuck. But I guess I can just play like g5 and then my pawns can do stuff later. Computer says white's a little better. But I guess that's what I should do. Take it, play c4, and king and bishop get more active. Yeah. That makes some sense. The computer is playing c5 down the road, getting that sort of a position. I don't remember exactly what the time situation was, but it wasn't good. Okay, but I saw that I could play c5, so I played c5. Actually, so one of my games from this past weekend's tournament, I submitted it to Ben Feingold's analysis stream yesterday, and Matt Larson, Matt Larson, was visiting him, so my game was analyzed by both Ben and Matt. What Matt said about my game after the game, and for Michael's information, it was my game against Charles. After the game, Matt Larson said, yeah, you took a lot of risks, but then they like all worked. And I guess that's how I play chess, is like, I see interesting moves, I play interesting moves, and when they work, I look like I play chess well, and when they don't work, then I look like an idiot. So I probably need to work on being a little more discerning of, like, you know, do I like this move just because it's interesting, or is it, you know, actually interesting and good? But you do not take many risks. I mean, I don't know that this is like a risky move, but, you know, it's like, you know, I could just play like a very natural move, but I go for these, like, you know, different kind of moves. Okay, so c5 happened. And yeah, here's where things started to kind of go haywire. Is he took the rook. I took with the f-pawn, which the computer actually likes. It seems kind of weird, you know, to mess up the pawn structure, but I was like, two pass pawns, like, my bishop is never, I never want to move my bishop from this diagonal, really. So, I mean, yeah, now the computer's saying it's like clearly the best move. So I guess I'm not as crazy as I thought. But yeah, I was very low on time around here for sure, and I misplayed it. So I played King F6, which the computer says is the only good move. It says any other move loses. I'm not sure why. Okay, because we have to be able to play here if he goes and threatens this pawn. That makes sense. If he can ever play bishop takes pawn and pick us off of A8, then we're just toast. So we have to be able to meet the bishop getting on this diagonal with the king, with king F5. I mean, king F5 exclusively. Okay, so he didn't do that. And by he didn't do that, I mean he did do that. And I defended it as planned. Then he came back. Yeah. I didn't really know what to do, and time was short. And I don't have the full game because I was in time trouble. But I played King F6 here. He came back here. I played Bishop D5 and offered a draw, which he declined. But I'm not saying I remember what he played. How's it going, M. Quander? Type 1 in chat if you got late at the Olympiad. The computer says Bishop B5 is by far the best move and White's winning. I don't remember what was played. Did he go? I think he played A4. I'm pretty sure he played A4. Basically, the tenor of what happened, I'm just gonna invent moves and hope that they were actually what was played. I think I tried to do stuff on the king side, but I'm not saying I remember what I tried to do. What could I even try to do on the king side? I probably went here, I guess? I don't know. Computer says C4 is the only drawing move. I don't think I did that. Yeah, too weak, too slow, and initiative saw what I didn't. Basically, the tenor of what happened is what you guys are saying. Like, I might have even just, like, gone back and not realized the danger. Something like this is what happened. Around here, I was like, oh. And then we got some position like this, and I'm like, oh, I guess I have to resign. But I don't know if any of those moves are what happened. But something like that is what ended up losing me the game. But yeah, it was a really interesting game. And yeah, the bishop ending is worthy of a lot more attention than I've given it. But I do need to end stream because I have to teach a class in 20 minutes. So, yeah, I think I'll stream again after my class and cover well, I'll try to cover the rest of the games. I mean, let's see, I still have 3 more games from this tournament. And then 4 games from the tournament 2 days ago. But I guess I'll try to cover as much as I can later. So I'll probably start the stream again around 8 p.m. Central, because I also got to eat dinner at some point. So I have to go teach my class. So thanks for being here. Thanks for, you know, looking at the games with me. Join me again in about 2 hours from now, a little under 2 hours from now, probably. And let's figure out who to raid. I'm used to doing a poker stream where I just like do that, you know, after the delay runs out. But now I have to do it live. Let's raid Squirrely. I haven't seen Squirrely in a long time. That'll be good. So